Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.
Yes. You are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports as ordered. He is Mr. Logical. I am 2-5. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Liquid Death in hand. Download us wherever you get your podcast. Check out Say Less, Say More, all the things. And guess what, y'all? It's Friday. So that means picks, and more picks. So we going to take it right from the top. Mr. Logical. Real quick, before we get into this, I guess we should talk about that ending last night, right? Like, wow.
Yeah. I like 2 things about it. I like that they just were moving, grooving, and vibing and sliding. Shout out to Lawrence Johnson. I don't want to take his line. But I knew they didn't hesitate. They were like, yeah, we're going for 2. And the pundits were saying, like, hey, a tie doesn't help Seattle because they would have a loss in a tie, even though they'd have the same record.
Yeah.
The tiebreaker, they would have a loss in a tie. So they needed to have the 12th win. So shout out to Sam Darnold, man. Like he's proof that you could resurrect your career. You just need an opportunity. You just got to keep your head down, keep working, and then you'll get your opportunity. But yeah, I like the way it worked out. I like the fact that they went to their young stars. Puka Nacua went off. I mean, he's had a pretty tough week. His brother got arrested this week. He had the live streaming controversy.
I actually just learned that his other brother was in that brawl. Remember Memphis and BYU a couple of years ago?
And the one that got that was part of the stolen car allegedly, he slapped the fan at a
I saw that
football game. So it's like there's a lot going on. So for him to just be as young as he is, to deal with all of that, to deal with the public criticism,
and then he pulled an Antonio Brown, right? He tweeting, live recording and tweeting right after the game.
Yeah, he gonna get fined for that referee comment. I'm just saying, like, yo, stay off the streams, just play ball. Like, he's in LA already. You're gonna get the notoriety you need. He has the look, he has the hair, he has the talent. He's Matthew Stafford's favorite target. Like, I mean, talent versus tolerance. He's gonna get a longer leash, but don't use that leash to run into these streaming spots. Antonio Brown is facing a murder charge or attempted murder charges right now because he was hanging out with these streamers. These people don't understand, like they do shit for clout. So you need to compete. Like last night, he played his ass off. I'm not saying he didn't give him everything he had, but it's like these are your moments. Like this is where you make your stamp on the world. And I think just letting the outside shit be outside shit, man.
And all you trollers out there, Matthew Stafford is still the MVP. Stop that overreaction stuff. So, Mr. Logical, over in the nation's capital, the defending champions are coming in. If they win, they clinch the NFC East. If they clinch the NFC East, then Dallas is in a real whole heap of trouble. Is there any way possible that these Commanders can knock off the champs?
Nah, I don't think so. I think Philly has these spurts where it's up and down, but just the basic makeup of their team, if you just apply it in a football dynamic, you can't go wrong. Like if they just go back to just being tough up front, which they are, good run game, they have a running quarterback, they have a running back who ran for over 2,000 yards last year. All right, you want to be dynamic in the passing game. You have 2 dynamic wide receivers and a tight end that you got to put a safety on. If you put a linebacker on, it's going to be exploited. On top of the fact that the mobile quarterback looks for the tight end a lot of times. So if they just go back to that defensively, they're big up front, they're tough off the edge, they're good in pass coverage. Like everything you need to win football games, they have it at every level. So if they just stay focused on that, and then Washington's not going to really threaten them.
So for me, it's always a division game. Late in the year, wonky things happen, and I'm not by any means picking an upset, but it looks like Lane Johnson, might be able to go. So that'll be big for Philly, not necessarily for this game, but going forward. Yeah. They're getting their tune-ups, right? Getting playoff ready. You had the Raiders last week. You got this game, and then guess who they got next week? They got those wagon circulars. You know what I mean? And then they get Washington again. So this is a chance to get right as you go to the playoffs because you're probably not going to get home field advantage. Now against Washington, Philly, just choose what you want to work on. You want to bring in 3 tight ends and run counter traps with Saquon? Practice that. You want to practice some deep balls? The secondary will let you do that too. Washington is 31st in the league in takeaways. So Jalen Hurts, open fire. Then, Mr. Logical, in the black and blue division, the NFC North, we got the Green Bay Packers coming into Soldier Field, and the Bears got their own drama. Apparently they might be moving to Northwest Indiana, but for now, let's focus on, this division. If the Bears win this game, they don't clinch the division, but they're basically right there. You know what I mean? The winner of this game, if Detroit loses on Sunday, the winner of this game clinches a playoff spot. Who gets the W?
You said Green Bay, Chicago.
Yep, Soldier Field.
I'm going to take Chicago.
Okay.
I think we talked about the up and down play of Green Bay. We talked about it with Philly, but like I said, I think Philly has like the tools in every position where if they just, get back to the mean, they can affect the game. I think sometimes Jordan Love is up and down. He has talent. I think Christian Watson, I don't say he's injury prone.
If he plays, yeah.
If he plays, yeah, it's just he's such a weapon, but because of that, he's involved in a lot of action. He's involved in a lot of those deep routes. We've seen him previous years have Sports Report's own special soft tissue injuries.
Yes.
Last week it was a shoulder because on the interception, like he had his hand out. So it's it's freak. These are freak accidents sometimes, but so yeah, I like Chicago. I like Chicago's rolling. I think they're getting their first taste of victory. I saw a post today like this is DJ Moore's first winning season since high school. I think that resonates. Just being on the cusp after being down for so many years as an organization. Yeah.
You just felt the need for no reason to throw my Terps under the bus?
Listen, I didn't realize, because I was thinking about it, Mekhi Becton last year on the bench in Philly crying because his first time in the playoffs. I remember another cornerback played for Buffalo and Cincinnati for a while. I think he got his first taste of the playoffs when Cincinnati made it, and he was crying in the locker room. Then I think about certain guys that make it all the time. So Chicago is in that space where it's all right, they're a threat in the NFC, which is huge because I think it's wide open. It's something like 3 or 4 teams still have a path to the number 1 seed. I believe they're mixed in there somewhere. So I think it's huge, and I think it's going to be huge for Chicago to just kind of turn around. Like we talked about Green Bay. Green Bay might be making some unnecessary changes. Like Matt LaFleur might be out. That's a conversation that happened weeks ago. So I think it might be some dissension.
I think we might be off that now. I'm going with the Pack. It's going to be tough. Obviously no Micah Parsons. So, you might have to switch up the blitz packages a little bit. That cover 6, you might have to do some edits on that. But you know what I mean? At the same time, Chicago has a formula. They're 7-0 this season when they run for 140 yards. So you know what? Sell out on the run, make Caleb beat you. Now, he's looking improved over the last couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to shit on him when I say that. I'm just saying that's the easiest path to victory. The problem for Green Bay is I think they're the better team. It's just these injuries because we talked about Christian Watson. You know, Josh Jacobs is questionable again, but I'm sure he's going to play. It's probably one of those, hey, you take a rest for a few days kind of thing. You know, Jordan Love.
Yeah, he was on a bit of a pitch count last week.
Yeah, and I think he'll be on the same this week. But Jordan Love, that just means it's all on you. This is what you got paid for. This is what they drafted you for to replace Aaron Rodgers. And the division is in your sights, and you got that tie on your record. So you know what? I'm going with the Pack. Bears might not have a Doomsday again. You know, Luther Burden might not be able to go. So both teams are pretty banged up with as far as weaponry goes. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay in a slugfest to take this game. All right. Then Mr. Logical, it's statement time. Can the Jacksonville Jaguars show us that they really belong and go out to Mile High and go toe-to-toe with the Broncos?
Trevor Lawrence had 6 touchdowns last week. Those are like college numbers.
Who were they playing?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. You can ride that. You can ride that wave. But I don't know, Denver just has they have an energy around them that, translates to victories. Bo Nix putting up 4 touchdowns last week. Riley Moss, like I said, we know he's always, he's targeted a lot because Surtain's on the other side, but he comes up with the interception after a bad pass interference call. He's probably going to get another one this week. But Trevor's still probably going to give him an opportunity to get one. So I think on the road, I haven't seen a lot of Trevor in the NFL on the road in tough spots win games. So I think it's safe to say I can go with the home team because
all right.
I think it's just a better spot for Denver and being a number 1 seed. I think they're just riding high. AFC's long been considered the better conference. So to be at the top of the better conference, I imagine they want to stay there.
So I think that for me, I just want Jacksonville to be competitive. I'm not going to do that thing, where if y'all don't win this game, you're a fraud. You know what I mean? Just don't get blown out. Don't get dominated. Let me see you actually trade shots with an elite team right now. You know what I mean? Denver might be getting into that position where they might need a loss because, it's not very often that you win, say, 19, 20 straight NFL games. You know what I mean? But as far as
with a very similar formula,
but as far as it goes, the game goes itself. I think this is going to be a close game. I like the under. I think I saw it at 44.5. 2 big pickups at the trade deadline. We had Shaheed out in Seattle, and he ran that pump back last night, and then we got Jacoby Myers with Jacksonville. He's opened up the middle of the field for them in a way that it wasn't before because Brian Thomas was going through his drop thing. He was, yeah. So now that you have the middle solidified, I think that you can attack Denver in a couple of different ways. The problem is that Denver's at home. The good news is it's 60-degree weather, so this ain't the Miami Dolphins going into the cold weather. It's a pretty average day. This might be a game where Jacksonville needs Bashul Tootin, but he's out with the finger injury. So Jacksonville, you can get into the playoffs with a win, and if either the Colts or the Texans lose. You know what I mean? So we'll get to that here in a little bit. So Bo Nix, can you handle the Tampa 2? Can you get out of the pocket and make the right throw? He likes to throw deep, but that's what Jacksonville's going to want him to do. So can he take what's underneath and sustain drives? That's what I'm going to be looking for. Sunday night football.
Harvey.
Yeah. Sunday night football. My hometown. New England Patriots, one of the MVP candidates, Drake May, is coming to town. Mr. Logical, Ravens, back against the wall. What say you?
Ravens
favored by 3, by the way. So basically a pick 'em on a neutral.
Okay. The problem I have with the Ravens is I don't know if their quarterback as healthy as he needs to be in these crucial times of the year. You can't keep having to go on these runs 4 or 5 games to make your way into the playoffs. I think the Patriots, the run defense was solid for a while. They've been giving up a lot of yards. I saw a stat. It was like something like 130 yards a game in the last 4 or 5 games. I'm going to go with New England just because I know they're going to do what they do. I still feel like the Ravens will go out and do something like, give the ball to Henry 16 times, knowing like their record is way better when he gets it over 20 times. It's like the win percentage versus when he gets the ball 20 times or under 20 times is substantial. So I don't know why your game plan doesn't say, all right, let's get the ball to him 20 times.
Right.
And see what happens. A safety out of position or a linebacker out of position when he hits the hole. Now you got a safety one-on-one with the angle, and you still got to deal with the stiff arm. We've seen that happen multiple times this season. Seen it happen against Buffalo, 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown runs. I think he had 80 something, I believe, in that Buffalo game earlier the year. I think it was over 80, if not
so
close.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen him be able to break this. I just don't know if the Ravens just the consistency offensively to make those kind of plays happen. Whereas I think the Patriots are just going to be, a consummate, consistent team. Vrabel's going to have them ready to play, and they're going to. I don't know if they can lock up the AFC East.
They can,
but this is the game that's going to help them do that.
So I was thinking the reverse from the standpoint of, we talked about Buffalo the other day, and if Buffalo has a certain pressure on them because certain teams might not be in the playoffs, I wonder if New England feels a certain pressure of, we lost that game last week, gave up the 21-0 lead. We can't clinch. They could have clinched the division last week, but now the division is open. Now, with that being said, I like desperate home teams this time of year in the NFL, but there's a couple of outliers that stand out to me that don't help the Ravens, if they hold up. So the Patriots are 6-0 on the road this year. They haven't lost on the road at all this year. The Ravens are 31st in the league in red zone touchdowns. So they don't do a bad job getting down there, but they do a bad job finishing the job. So that's where you got to clean that up. To your point about Derrick Henry, feed him the rock. You should
never be 31st in red zone scoring when you have Derrick Henry. You have 2 tight ends. One you just signed to an extension, and Isaiah Likely is like 6'6" or 6'7". He's another big target that Lamar likes. It's not like,
and Bateman ain't small.
Yeah, so it's like he has targets that he likes to throw to downfield, and he has 2 tight ends that are pass catching tight ends. Like Atlanta has Kyle Pitts as our pass catching tight end, not another guy that runs a lot of routes and gets passes through. So he has 2 tight ends that he throws the ball to, and you have Derrick Henry, and you have yourself, but yet you're 31st in touchdown scoring in the red zone. That's the problem with Baltimore. That's a testament to their inconsistency as an offense and like what your structure is, because you have the pieces to score, but you don't put it together. So that's why I can't pick you, even at home, even being desperate.
And if I'm Baltimore, I'm dropping 8, and I'm letting that young quarterback make decisions, think about things, look all over the field, because he will
screen passes that
he will kill
left
you
and right and make these guys tackle that guy in space.
Well, he will kill you if you blitz him. So you got to pick your poison. You know what I mean? And the other key to this game is, can New England get to Lamar without having to send everybody? Because neither one of these teams are necessarily the best at getting to the quarterback consistently. So I want to see which one of the teams can do that. So you got Pittsburgh going to Detroit. Oh, last thing real quick. Sorry, I forgot to mention. The other thing about Baltimore is that you need this game because you go to Lambeau next week, before the Pittsburgh game. So, you could find yourself out of the playoffs depending on what Pittsburgh does if you don't get this game. Speaking of Pittsburgh, they're going up to Ford Field to play the Detroit Lions. Mr. Logical, Lions are favored by 7. And I don't know why, but when I look at this matchup, right? When I look at this matchup.
Over Pittsburgh?
Yes. When I look at this matchup, I feel like Detroit should win this game easily. But then that part in my brain goes, is this a Tomlin moment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the game. So you had 2 8-6 teams. And
the Steelers are 8-6. The Steelers are 8-6 because of the division that they play in. Like they're really like 5-9.
And the Lions are 8-6 because when they play good teams, they don't score points. They beat up.
The Steelers aren't a good team.
The Steelers are coached well, and Mike Tomlin's a good coach.
Yeah, but you still got Arthur Smith,
Aaron, I think Aaron Rodgers is doing a better job of balancing out the Arthur Smith conundrum versus what Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder could do in their time with Arthur Smith. I like Pittsburgh here. I like the physicality of Pittsburgh. I think the injuries for Detroit, because guys are in and out. They lost a lot of corners.
Yeah, bracket DK and force somebody else to beat you.
And then they're getting the ball to Washington a lot now. I mean, I think he said on someone's podcast that he got on the scale and he was 311. So 6'7", 311-pound tight end. I mean, 3rd and 6 is his route. Like that's his.
I would say you could argue they don't use him enough.
They use him in the back of the tush push. They use Hayward as the quarterback, and they were like, "How come you don't use Washington?" I was like, "Well, he's probably too big to get that low, to get under center."
As quick as he needs to. Yeah,
quick as he needs to. So they use him as the guy that does the pushing. So, I think I like Dan Campbell. I think he's going to get risky again. I think 4th and 4 is where he should punt. He's going to go 4th and 4 from the 50, 4th and 3, especially if the 3rd down play was like, oh, we could have had it. Jameson was open. Let me try it again. And, they're going to turn the ball over. I think Mike Tomlin's going to just do a number. Like, it's for you to coach this many years and to have, over the last 5 or 6 years since Ben was injured later in his career. He wasn't even practicing, it was like a shell of Big Ben. And you had guys like Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, and yet you still find ways to win 9-10 games. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, 2 guys who aren't starting right now. Those were his primary options last year. So, 7 points. I think that's something that he'll bring up. Like I talk about the locker room. He's one of those guys that can get the locker room ready and locked in. So, I'm taking Pittsburgh.
So the problem for me is that I can't get the Buffalo game out of my head. The 265 yards that Buffalo rushed for against that defense. I can't get out of my head. As much as I talk about Jared Goff under pressure, Aaron Rodgers might be just as bad or slightly worse. So I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to take a flyer on the Lions. So Jerry World, can the Chargers put Dallas out of their misery?
You want to say yes, but I'm going to say no just because it's Dallas. Dallas is just going to do it. I don't know why. I don't know how. Their defense is going to look a lot better this week than they did last week. There's going to be no rhyme or reason for it. Justin Herbert's going to look average. It's because they are Dallas. Last week, you and I think we talked about this game, the Minnesota-Dallas game, like what, maybe a minute?
Yeah.
You're like, we ain't ever discussed this one, right? Dallas is going to win this one. And it was like, boom. And then I turned the game on, and the boys doing the gritty into the end zone. So now you get Justin Herbert in, and they're going to smash him.
But my problem is that Quinnen Williams still hasn't got out of the concussion protocol. And I think if they don't have Quinnen Williams, it's lights out. Lots of Hampton, lots of Vidal right up the middle. And the game isn't necessarily going to have to be on Justin Herbert. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Monday Night Football, Mr. Logical. You know what I'm saying? Tell your daddy that the season is over. The 49ers coming into Indy to play Old Yeller. Anthony Richardson is back at practice. San Francisco favored by 6. What you got for me?
So San Francisco's favored by 6 over a team that's kind of floundering. new quarterback, other quarterbacks injured. But Detroit's favored by 7 against Pittsburgh, who's leading their division. I don't know what Vegas is doing. You know what? I'm gonna take a flyer. I'm gonna go with the Colts. Just because we talk about Kyle Shanahan is kind of putting this together, and it's like, oh, they had all these injuries, now they're getting guys back. They still didn't get those guys back on defense. Like Fred Warner didn't come back. They've been playing well, but like they still have holes. I think they could be exploited. You know, Phillip Rivers, granted, yes, 44-year-old man, but what I'm learning in my 44 years on this planet, the wisdom is still there. It's still locked in. Like you have conversations with like younger people, and you say something to them, and it's like, I think Phillip Rivers gets to the line of scrimmage, like, oh, you just gonna let me know you're bailing out this way? All right, cool. Check this. Here, give me a little sticks route right here in the middle. I'm gonna hit you because it's gonna be wide open. I think that's gonna be one thing that's gonna happen. I like Brock Purdy, but I still feel like he's not a force multiplier. I think if everything is going well, I think he does. I don't think he makes them even more dynamic. I mean, we got to keep in mind Mac Jones won a few games with that team as well. So I'm taking the Colts. Shout out to my pops. I'm taking the Colts.
We're just going to ignore that playoff run and everything, huh?
Yeah, he had a decent little run.
No, he did not have a decent little run. He directly won. No. Because the talk on Brock Purdy is the 49ers are this stacked team that he's fortunate to have the keys to and all this kind of stuff. He won those playoff games. Those things happened. They don't win those playoff games with Mac Jones. Now, as far as this year goes, yes, like he's been off. He's been taking a lot of risks that he doesn't need to take.
A lot of risks, a lot of hits, a lot of missed time.
But that's also his best receiver right now is Jawan Jennings. You know what I mean? Like Ricky Pearsall is hurt again. You know what I mean? Kittle missed a few games.
Came back from a gunshot wound
and getting taken out by an ankle.
Anything else?
Yeah, but yeah, the Colts are done. Get them out of here. Pack them up. Mr. Logical, down in your neck of the woods, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know what I'm saying? Going into Carolina, NFC South being your neck of the woods. I had some arguments on TikTok yesterday, like, hey, Bryce Young, 13 games, 10 games over 200 yards. And then somebody told me he had 49 yards rushing last week. And I was like, yeah, he has 171 on the season. But with that being said, Carolina is the weirdest team to figure out. They went to Lambeau and won. They beat the Rams. And then they got swept by the Saints. So what am I expecting here?
And they swept the Falcons, who dominated the Saints.
So what am I expecting here?
We're in Carolina. Tampa Bay. Are they going to use the Atlanta loss? Did they check that film and say, all right, let's tighten up? We tighten this up, tighten that up, we'll be good to go.
What's the locker room look like after that press conference Bowles had?
Bowles, and I think Bowles is on his way out. Even if they win the division, short of a NFC Championship run, I can't see them bringing them back. Because the defense is supposed to be a specialty, but you're giving up 29 points to Kirk Cousins, 3 touchdowns to Kyle Pitts when he was the only deep threat, leaving the other guys wide open. Like Sills was wide open on a lot of those routes. Guys are back and healthy, so I think Tampa Bay will be able to score. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay to go on the road, beat Carolina, reclaim the NFC South number 1 spot. Just because, like, we talked about Bryce Young. You had a lot of conversation on TikTok with a lot of the fans. And it's not – if we look at Tua is probably your cautionary tale going forward. Because you have a lot of these guys, they got a lot of money. Herbert, Tua, Josh Allen, Burrow. like a lot of these guys got that 250 million. Brock Purdy. Tua was the one people probably had the most questions about. Purdy is probably next. And that's kind of showing his head as well. If San Francisco wasn't winning those games when he wasn't out there, then I think that $50 million price tag will be like more of a conversation point. But the fact that they were winning games, they have the formula, and he's coming back and he's helping them win games. But with Tua, it was concerned about his concussions and injuries to the point where, like, I think they kind of ignored, he also has to be able to perform. So when he made it through the season without getting injured, they were like, all right, let's give him his money. Now they're ready to try to move off of him. Like, you got 3 years left, probably like another $100 million guaranteed. That's a tough sell for a guy that you just paid $250 million to and you want to give to another team. Bryce Young is in that same spot. So I think fans are thinking like we think he's bum. Like, no, it's just that by position, the Proximus position, the paper is crazy. It's going to be $50 million in franchise tag him. If you do it twice, the following year is probably going to be about 56. So it's like you're going to pay him $106 million guaranteed, then negotiate a contract. Because I imagine Mahomes in 2 years signs a contract where he's getting $62.5 million a year.
Right.
Like a 3 or 4 year deal. Or who's a young guy up and coming? Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He's going to get a crazy check after in the next year. So that's the thing. The under 200 yards.
Aiden, Caleb, Bo Nix.
If these guys go on runs, if Bo Nix, if it's a Chicago, Denver, Super Bowl, Carolina, the price tag for your quarterback is $57 million.
Oh, if it's a Denver, Chicago,
it has
Super
nothing
Bowl,
to do with you.
Lord save us.
It's nothing to do
Lord
with you. But a guy throwing for under 200 yards, 10 out of 13 games, can't take up 45% of your cap.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I think I like Tampa here. If Tampa wins, they pretty much, in my opinion, wrap up the division because they get Miami next week, and then they get Carolina coming in week 18. If Carolina wins this game, week 18 is a winning in. So I want Carolina to win because I want the winning in scenario. But I think Baker's got his weapons back. He hasn't been looking great, lately, but Mike Evans is back. I don't know if Carolina can stop him. And I don't know if Bryce Young is consistent enough, to handle the pressure that Tampa's going to send his way. Like they're going to have to rely on the run game, which they can do. But I think they're going to have to score with Tampa to win this game.
Yeah.
Mr. Logical, you remember how a couple of minutes ago I said the Colts season is over? So when the Colts season ends on Monday night, Buffalo is going to clinch a playoff spot because Buffalo is going to dog stomp Cleveland this weekend. Now, granted, Cleveland is a lot better at home than they are on the road. You know what I mean? Shador, I think, will be okay this week. Myles Garrett will get his sack record. He only needs one.
The same thing. He's going to get that because Josh is going to hold on to the ball a couple of times trying to get Dawson Knox and Kincaid open.
Yep. So, you know what I mean? Like, just give me the Bills.
Yeah, I'll take the Bills in that scenario.
Give me the Saints over the Jets.
That could be interesting.
Maybe.
That could be a fun game.
Maybe. I mean, the Saints are still 29th in offense. Like, you know what I mean? Their defense looks a lot better, but they're still 29th in offense.
Yeah, and they love Tyler Shuck, but he's basically just, a taller version of Spencer Rattler. Like, they're getting the exact same productivity out of it. His confidence might be a little higher, and I think he might be more of the mold physically, but you're getting the same exact thing. But I think they're ready to move off of Spencer Rattler anyway. But, yeah, I'll take the Saints just because it's at home.
Yeah, give me the Vikings over the Giants and give me a new doctor for Jackson Dart, checked for concussions 5 times in his 10 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't saying shut him down. He needs the reps, but damn.
A new play caller. Like, listen, if you think to yourself, man, I think this would be a good time to call a quarterback keeper, then it should be a person on payroll this week that says, hey, we should try a screen pass instead. Every single time you say out loud, I think we should go with this quarterback keeper, it should be someone saying like, nah, I think we should go with a screen pass. Just because you're getting him hit for no reason. And he said it himself. I'm a competitor. I'm a football player. This I've always played. Yeah, you've always played with high school kids from Utah. Granted, you play with USC and then you play in the SEC. So yeah, there's some hitters on there. But the NFL, there's hitters everywhere.
Right.
All shapes, sizes, and colors, all positions. Like the punter might rock you in the NFL if you're not on your P's and Q's. So yeah, get out of bounds or just call a screen pass. Don't call any more runs for him. Tom Brady didn't run this much, and he went to 10 Super Bowls. So it can be done.
Give me the Titans.
Yeah. I did it too.
All right. Bengals, Dolphins. I'm taking the Bengals, but Mr. Logical, quick question.
Which coach gets fired if they lose?
No, I think Mike McDaniel keeps his job. I don't think he benches Tua and puts Quinn Ewers in without some idea that his job. Yeah, because I don't think you do that. Like, because you don't want to end the season on a 3-game losing streak because they still got to play New England. And so he's
gonna be. So he has the potential to end the season on a 3-game losing streak and still keep his job.
Yes, because I think that if you were going to fire him,
you can't move. You can't move off of Tua.
I think that if you were going to fire him, you would have fired him when they were 2-7, or something, or we at least would have heard talks about it. Now, the good news, the wild card in this situation is they're going to have a new GM. So, so that new GM could want his own coach. So that's obviously something to take under consideration. But I just think that
I'm listening. I'm just pulling up Tua's contract right now. I want to get his cap hit. I saw it the other day. It was a crazy number.
Oh yeah, I think I got it actually. But I think that if he was going to lose his job, he would just ride with Tua and and just let it play. Oh, here we go, right here. So next year his cap hit would be 56.4, then 53.4, and then in 2028, 65.8. You know what I mean? But I just don't think that you make that move, because like they could beat Cincinnati with Tua. You know what I mean? They could beat the Jets with Tua. They're playing Brady Cook. I don't know if they could beat New England again.
I don't know why they benched him at all.
That's
my thing, because
they should have benched him in week 4.
But it's too late. It's literally it's too late to try to bench him. It's too late to try to salvage. So unless you plan on bringing him back, I can't see a future where, because I look at it like this. I think the coach is easier to get rid of and replace than the player because of the contract.
Definitely.
So whatever Mike McDaniels has left on his contract, that's a buyout, which doesn't impact your salary cap. You're not moving Tua to any NFL team right now at that price.
No, I think that, but if you're Mike McDaniel and you're the offensive dude, right? You're the guru or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? You say, hey, we drafted this dude. Give me 3 games with him. And then you'll see how it looks. If he looks decent, then you can go.
I think Mike McDaniels is out.
Maybe.
He knows it. They've said bench Tua so he doesn't get hurt, and we got to pay him.
No, that definitely could be a thing, as far as his injury history.
I think Mike.
But
McDaniels
also their season is over, so why?
Quinn Ewers
but also their season is over, so why play Tua?
Because
season's over. They're eliminated from the playoffs.
The season's not over.
Like the season is over.
Like if they were playing good football,
you know what they do? These next 3 games. These next 3 games for the Miami Dolphins are bowl games.
Yeah, I think he's playing Quinn Ewers because it's like, well, Zach Wilson's on a 1-year deal. Maybe they can get him somewhere else. Tua has a massive amount of money left on his contract, and Mike McDaniels is out.
Yeah, you know what? When Ewers comes out here and throws for 200 yards in each of these 3 games, I go, see, Bryce Young don't even do that.
Yeah, which he will.
All right, Mr. Logical. Falcons, Cardinals, man. What's up?
I'll take the Falcons as a fan. Yeah, I take the Falcons. It's on the road. Even if it was at home, it wouldn't matter. I think Georgia Bulldogs have the same amount of wins in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium as the Falcons do this year. So
yeah,
But I'll take them on the road.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
wondering
going
what they're
with the
going to do at
Falcons as
quarterback
well.
next year too. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, we're going with the Falcons as well over here. Raiders and Texans. Can the no, I'm not going to ask you who's going to win because I know your
Can the
answer.
Raiders score?
Can the Raiders score 13?
No,
Can the Raiders score 10?
nah. I give you 3, maybe 6, because Carlson has a big leg.
All right, there you
And
go,
just
y'all.
I think after Houston scores their 3rd touchdown, they give up a big kick return. They get the ball at the 50. They get 6 or 7 yards, and then Carlson kicks, a 57 or 58-yard field goal a couple of times,
There
and they
you go.
lose 31-6.
There you go. Week 16, y'all. And then, of course, tonight, we got Bama going into Gaylord Memorial. We gave you the preview the other day. Both of us, I believe, picked Bama. And then in the other game tomorrow, we had Mr. Logical who took Texas A&M. I'm taking Miami. And then we got the 2 games tomorrow that nobody wants to see, apparently. So
Yeah.
I'm going to just ask you this, Mr. Logical.
Let's hear it.
I'm sure that we're both picking Oregon. I'm sure we're both picking Ole Miss. So, with that being said, which one is more likely to lose?
Of the Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Okay, why?
I would say Ole Miss because I don't know how many of the players are ready to go to Baton Rouge, but are just biding their time because they're in the playoffs. And if it gets, I think Tulane, they played them earlier, like you said, they lost. Lane Kiffin's not calling the plays. Can Tulane get the underdog special, which is you get the ball, get a big play, get a touchdown, and then maybe a bad drive, a turnover, and get a lead and put some pressure on some guys and make people kind of just say, you know what, we're done. I don't know if that's the case. I just think Ole Miss, because I think Ole Miss has more. I think they have more questions that don't have anything to do with the actual game that can impact the game. I think they have more scenarios where there's guys just waiting to send Lane Kiffin that text message back saying, yeah, I'm on my way. Whereas Oregon is like, they're focused, they're locked in. Yeah, their coordinators are leaving, but the head coach is there, quarterback's there. They're, they've been flying essentially under the radar all year long. I think they're going to be more locked into beating JMU. And I think some of the Ole Miss players and or staff might be more focused on what could have been if Lane was still here.
Yeah, so I don't know what to expect from Ole Miss. I wonder, because Charlie Weiss Jr. is going to be calling the plays. But I wonder, with Pete Golding as the head coach now, being that he was the defensive coordinator, are we going to see Ole Miss play a more conservative type of style? Are we going to see them not try to put up 40 points? Like, they still can, just because of Tulane's defense, but you know what I mean.
Is he going to let the go ball get called on 3rd and 6, or is he going to want to say, "Hey, let's keep the chains moving here, keep the chains moving, try to convert on the ground here."
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for. And in that first game that they played against Tulane, it started off awful. Jake Retzlaff came out 0 for 9. It was only his 2nd or 3rd game with the team, coming out of the transfer portal from BYU. So, there was a lot going on early in the season that you would like to think, has been cleaned up by now, but for the sake of conversation, I'll choose Oregon, because what I don't know is who's the better team between Ole Miss and Oregon. But I think James Madison is a better team than Tulane. I think that James Madison, of any G5 team in the country, which ain't really saying much if you ask Nick Saban, JMU probably has the best defense of them all. So they have that going for them. Oregon has been more of a run team this year. I'm still waiting on word to see if Decorian Moore is going to play. Kenny Sadiq should be able to eat, but Evan Stewart's probably not going to go still. So I think James Madison's defense can at least keep it interesting for, say, a quarter and a half to a half.
Yeah.
Whereas Tulane, I don't think they can stop Ole Miss. I think that they'll be able to move the ball and score better on Ole Miss than they did the first time they played. I just don't think they can get stops. I think James Madison can at least force 2 punts in this game,
Yeah.
and I think that Oregon also may play this a little conservative. Like there's no need to go out there and do the things, put your players in harm's way per se. You could probably get out of there with say a 30-13 win rather
That's the
easily.
thing, and I think that's probably because we don't do Cinderellas in college football. We don't like it as fans. I'm saying I personally think any kind of matchup where there's an upset, I like the opportunity for that. But as far as this championship conversation, everyone just wants. They want 4 SEC schools, 4 Big Ten schools, and then everybody else straps out for the other 4 spots. I think that's per all the post selection committee conversations. That's the narrative that I think people that the pundits want. But I don't mind the JMU and Tulane opportunities. It's just football is overwhelmingly the physicality of it is how you win. That's the problem. It's like if it was like speed and edge, like basketball, you can have a whole team full of guys that are like 6 foot to 6'3", but if they can pass and move and cut and shoot, and they can shoot from deep, they have an opportunity against your standard.
All Virginia had to do was win.
Yeah, so
all Virginia had to do was win, and we get Tulane and no James Madison.
But they didn't do their part. These
other shout out,
won, so yeah.
Shout out to the Wahoos for taking one for the state. You know what I'm saying? So a Virginia team could still get in the playoffs. But James Madison's not here if they just beat a 5-loss team that they already beat by 17 points at Duke earlier this season. That's all they had to do. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, if Miami didn't lose one of those 2 games, whether it's Louisville or SMU, you know what I mean? Miami and Notre Dame are here. And guess what? Tulane is here. James Madison's not. So I'm not mad at James Madison because other people couldn't do what they were supposed to do.
Their job, yeah. But just the overwhelming fact is that the physicality of football, and that's where they're at a deficit. That's ultimately going to be the thing that causes them to lose a game. It might be a blowout, but like I said, the trench play and the speed on the edge, it's going to be too many hurdles to jump.
Yeah,
for these underdogs.
So, last thing before we get out of here, what do you think of Nick Saban's baseball analogy? The G5 is like having AAA play the World Series.
It's close in the sense that it's like, hey, there are levels to what we do. Yes, a AAA team could go out there and make contact with a Clayton Kershaw curveball, but we've seen an abundance of major league teams swing and miss at that pitch. So if you've seen so many of the higher level competition lose out to some of these guys, bringing in someone who doesn't play that same level of competition and doesn't have, like, you can look at not even the ratings, just the size, speed, athleticism. You could grade these guys. I'm pretty sure there's some guys who could play on any level. We saw that with the JMU guys that went with Cignetti to Indiana, but he didn't bring the entire team to Indiana. He brought a select few of like the standout.
Hell, if James Madison had the players he took to Indiana, maybe they would beat Oregon.
Yeah, so it's just sometimes, like, we talk about his X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's. My only problem with the statement and the statements that have been made constantly by all these pundits is that we knew the rules and the parameters going in to last season. So you knew that it was the top 5 conference champions. You knew what that was. You just expected it to be SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, and then a G5. It's just you are expecting that because the way that college football is laid out, the way the schedule is laid out, and the way the talent and the money is distributed. You expected that. The unexpected happened this year. They shouldn't be vilified and crucified and talked down upon because, like, listen, yeah, we get it. We don't have Alabama money. We don't have Ole Miss money. We don't have those recruiting opportunities. We don't have the money to go and have all these visits. We don't have the money to get a guy out of transfer portal who is going to possibly be a starter at Oregon or an offensive lineman from USC, get him to come to Texas A&M, whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean we didn't fairly earn our spot. That's the biggest problem that I have is like they're being treated as if they lobbied for their spot, a la what Notre Dame was trying to do in the fallout and what Nick Saban did himself a few years ago when they were 10-2 and they weren't playing the SEC championship game because he's like, yeah, we lost on a couple of last second field goals. Yeah, but you still lost. Like these coaches don't go on TV and lobby for their spots, but all these schools are from the bigger, better teams and schools. They constantly go on TV. They constantly have guys like Paul Feinbaum, Joe Klatt, Danny Cannell, all these guys
Street,
like
all of them,
Herb Street, like just lobbying for them. Like, yo, they already have the advantage. It's like if your son is 6'8" and he's trying out for the high school basketball team, but he doesn't show up to tryouts, and the 6'4" kid does, and he shows out, and he's like, "Yo, you're gonna be our big." You can't come as a parent and talk to the coach like, "Yo, how come you didn't get my son?" And he's obviously better. I'm like, "Yeah, your son didn't show up. His main objective was to show up and show that he can do what he need to do to be on the team. He can't just be like, oh, I'm 6'8", I'm automatically on." And that's what these teams are acting like. Oh, we played all of our games. Yeah, we lost a couple, but we're still better than them. That's not how it goes.
And not only that, but like we've seen this too many times. There was, yesteryear, what was Florida State? You know what I mean? You got SMU came right out of the American and went to the ACC championship game, beat Miami this year. You know what I mean? And then you got, Houston, who came out of the American, had a couple of bad years in the Big 12. Guess what? They just finished tied for third in the Big 12 this year. They're favored over LSU in a bowl game. So, like, you know what I mean? Like these stories happen. They matter. And that's why, and of course, the argument is going to be the ACC is weak. The Big 12 is weak. They still got better talent and, closer to the SEC than closer to the American.
Their resources, the resources at Texas Tech and are probably 15 to 20 times more worth in value than what you're going to get at JMU.
Right.
That's not how you're grading the entry to the college football playoff. It's like, did you win? Are you ranked higher than this other team's champ? You are. You're in.
And then the one thing I wanted to bring up real quick, you know what I mean? You got, all these years of data, right? So the 14 playoff, where we only had one G5 ever make that 14 playoff. In the first round, the average margin of victory was 17.9. That's all Power 5 minus, including Cincinnati. Now, last year, we only got 1 year of data, so I'm not trying to make a grand statement. But last year, we had the playoff. Boise State, if you remember, got the bye. So they didn't play in the first round. Average margin of victory in the first round last year, 19.3. And that was with Tennessee and Ohio State playing each other. Ohio State won that game by 25.
What did Ohio State do to Oregon?
You know what I'm saying? Beat them 42-14. And that's the thing. So people don't care about blowouts. Y'all just want to see the brands that you want to see. That's all this boils down to.
And the last time we had 4 teams, TCU got mollywopped by Georgia.
But they beat Michigan on the way to do that.
Michigan on the way to do it. So it's like, it happens. Stop getting on TV acting as if because you set up the dominoes to fall this way and they didn't, now you're all upset about it. Like, sometimes you don't always get what you want. I understand that we are in a society where people feel entitled to whatever they want. That's not the case. You're entitled to what the rules and parameters are laid out. It didn't work out in your hypothetical favor. Deal with it. Coach better, play better. Your alma maters that you're campaigning for and bootlicking for, tell them don't lose games to teams that finish their year 6-6. Just win those games. You have the talent. You have the booster money. You're sniping every kid in the transfer portal that was a 4 or 5 star out of high school. You should have no problems beating these teams on the road, at home, in Ireland, in France, wherever the hell they playing these football games at. If you are the better team, play better. It's that simple.
And then last thing, you know what I'm saying? Tomorrow, Roll of the Wild, playoff style. You know what I'm saying? Montana and Montana State. Let's go, Grizz. Get that revenge. I would have loved for them to play in the championship game, but, that's going to be at a neutral site. They still get to play in the state of Montana, so I'm here for it. Go, Grizz. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things. Do all the good things. He is the world-famous, world-renowned, born in Texas, raised in VA, even though he ain't down with JMU, representing everything New Jerusalem because he likes Rutgers for some reason. He is Mr. Logical. Don't bring feelings to a fact fight.
Let's go, Anthony Joshua.
Hey, you jumping in on me here. You know what I'm saying? Then down here in the Alamo, it's your unorthodox statistician going left so much you thought I was southpaw. Going left so much that Jake Paul can't even see what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul looking up at the lights if everything is created equal and on the up and up. Sports Reports is ordered. We love y'all so much. We will be back on Tuesday. Enjoy your football. We got some NBA for you on Tuesday as well. And let's get it.
Yo, we wear that crown, turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports Reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.